Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's August is going well. It's almost over, which is crazy. We got one and a half ish, because the month ends on a Monday, weeks left, and I am so excited. I'm going to Salem next week with my two besties, so that's going to be exciting. I'm trying to think if have I, not ever, I've definitely gone on vacation, but I'm not sure if I've had a full, no, July 4th. I did have a 3-day weekend vacation, so there was that. But this one's gonna be 4 days. But I'm taking more time off for my birthday. I'm taking a whole, like, almost a week and a half. So that'll be good. And as always, obligatory self promotion. What if I ruled the world? Poems inspired by music written by me, your boy. It's always linked below, always linked in my link tree. It's everywhere. So today we are here to talk about the Odyssey, which is the newest movie by Christopher Nolan. It's an epic action fantasy. It is about Odysseus, the Greek king of Ithaca, and he undergoes a long and perilous journey home after the Trojan War and encounters mythical beings as he attempts to reunite with his wife Penelope. And he encounters so much. I was like, wow, does he really have to go through all this? Just to, yeah, get back home? It was a lot going on. Um, I'm not sure if there's gonna be spoilers, but there were sirens. There was like a octopus monster thing, but you couldn't see the whole thing. I said sirens, octopus thing. There was a cyclops. There was other giant beings that were um, like giant showed soldiers. There was a witch. That scene was really crazy. It was so much going on. I was like, dang, does he really need to go through all this to get back home? So Odysseus was going through it, y'all. And it was released last month on the 17th. Like I said, it's directed by Christopher Nolan. And here's the cast. Matt Damon was Odysseus, the Greek king of Ithaca. That was the main character. Tom Holland as Temecula. He's Odysseus and Penelope's son, which, Penelope's the wife. He's the prince of Ithaca who is determined to find his father. Anne Hathaway is Penelope, wife of Odysseus and mother of Temecula, and the queen of Ithaca. And she fends off many suitors in her husband's absence, which I did not realize. I'm not sure how accurate this is to like actual Greek tradition. But when you're courting a woman who, at least in the movie, who, her husband is gone or dead or whatever, they thought, um, the suitors just chill in the house for a long time and just eat up everything and be merry. It is very weird to me, but it is what it is. And then Robert Pattinson was Antinous. I probably said that wrong. He's a suitor of Penelope, but really, he's a backstabber. I'm not going to spoil the part of how he's a backstabber, but he is. And I hated his character. I was so ready for him, to get what he deserves. And, so that's what I was waiting for. Have I seen Robert Pattinson in a lot of stuff? Not really. I've seen him in all the Twilight movies, unfortunately. I'm trying to think if I've seen him in anything else. I don't think so. But, he's cool. He played his role very well. I was ready to scratch his little eyes out. Lupita Nyong'o, she played a dual role as Helen of Troy, the wife of Meno- Menopolis, described as as the most beautiful woman in the world, whose abduction triggers the Trojan War. And she played Clemon Nestro, Helen's twin half sister, wife of Agamemnon. There's something that was kind of a spoiler in that, but I guess if it's like regular Greek mythology, you might know what happens. Um, how is she a half twin sister if they're twins? Well, twins can have two different dads, but they made them identical in the movie. I guess you're supposed to suspend your disbelief, which you technically have to for every movie. And then I don't know if I'm gonna say all these names. Let me see if there's anybody. Oh, Zendaya was Athenia, the goddess of wisdom, war, and handcraft, who protects Odysseus on his journey. She also portrayed a young Trojan princess of Athena. Um, oh, and Charlize Theron was Calypso, a nymph on the island of Oyal Oyaja. We're gonna go with that. Who is who tries to entice Odysseus to live with her husband with the promise of immortality, and he's with her for like 7 or 8 years. I feel like it's been a longer time than that. Who else was? Oh, we'll talk about Elliot Page as um Sinon, a Greek soldier and son of and a slave of Antinous, who was recruited as a child to be raised to serve as a soldier who would reach adulthood upon Greek's arrival at Troy. Oh, he's not originally in the Homer's original poem, but he was borrowed from Virgil's Aeneid and other myths. But yeah, I liked Elliot Page's character. He did a great job. I think this is the first role I've seen him in post transition. I haven't watched, I really haven't watched anything with him in a very long time. But he did a good job. All right, those are all the people I'm going to talk about. I did talk about my short video that Travis Scott was in this movie, and I was shocked. I never really heard him talk before, and then he was very clear and coherent. I was shocked. So yeah, let's get into my pros, my cons, and my overall opinion. So my first pro is the story, which it is based off of a like an epic poem. So but I feel like Nolan really did adapt the story very well. I feel like it went through the typical hero's journey beats. You go through, and I feel like it had like a lot of the beats. You go to do what you got to do to save your family, save the world, whatever. You have a change of heart. Your mind changes. Your like your I'm trying to your heart changes. So when Odysseus is they're invading Troy, he's seeing everything, and he's like, you know what? Dang, we're really doing a lot right now, and he like really feels that, and he feels bad. And then them going from like village to village to pillage. I will say, the typical things when they pillage and other things, they just showed the pillaging and taking over the towns. They did not show anything. Uh, I'm just gonna go ahead and say they didn't show any rape. I was happy about that because I was like, it's already too much going on. Um, but yeah, the story is really good, and he's going through all of these different trials and tribulations. Like I said, there's so many beings and mythical creatures and all these crazy things. And I want to talk about one thing. So people were making memes on Twitter about the sirens. So I thought I was going to see the sirens. So if you have not seen this movie and you thought you might see the sirens, I don't think that we did. We hear, or what? If you watch the movie, you'll see what happens. But you know that they're singing, but you don't really see them. But I was kind of interested to see what they would look like, if they would even look like human, because some sirens, like in the different mythology, they do look very beautiful, and that's how they lure people, and they with their song, and they lure the people against the rocks, you know. Then they kill them. And then the acting, I said in my short video, the actors were acting. I should have emphasized it with like they were acting. They did a great job. I was really engrossed. I didn't feel like anybody seemed out of place or didn't fit. And I know a lot of people had I'll say a lot of white people had issue with like the people being black, or like Zendaya, she's biracial. Of course, she does rep mostly for black people, but you know what I mean. With Lupita Nyong'o and some of the other characters, and then even Travis Scott. And I feel like I liked that, it had this mixture, and it was basically like not even mentioned. It was just like, okay, we're all one people, and I like that. And I like that same thing with Bridgerton. Even though I still have not finished the very first episode, we won't get into that, but I do want to finish it and keep going with it. But yeah, I really like that. Everybody was really into it and they were really committed and dedicated. And I didn't feel like, they looked out of place or were acting like not how they should be acting in this time frame, in this context. Oh, and the cinematography was great. Now, I wonder, it could be CGI, or who knows now, it could be AI. But it was really beautiful, whatever it was. And I'm sure, I don't want to say I'm sure, but I'm imagining they were on some kind of sound stage or like water kind of stage for the water scenes. Those freaked me out. I have thalassophobia, which is fear of large bodies of water. Like, I'll get in the water, but I don't get too deep. But all those scenes with the boat, absolutely terrifying. I wanted to run out of the theater, but it was a very good job. When he's in like the different cities, he's in Troy, and there's Ithaca, like all of these different landscapes. It looks so beautiful. So that was really good, whether it was real or CGI. Hopefully, it wasn't AI, but you never know. And I do like the world building. I guess that's kind of connected, but I couldn't think of like a fourth thing I liked because I feel like those were kind of like the main beats. But the world building, like, you have this world that, Ithaca is in, but then you also have this world where there are also sirens, and then you have also this world where like there's the different things on different islands that they're going all around, and even in the ocean, like the sirens. Um, and then there's like that octopus looking thing I talked about, and like all of these different worlds, and like the world that's going on in Ithaca, and then the world that's going on with Odysseus, being lost basically, and then the world with like the suitors and out like all and then all the people who are living in these different villages and everything. So I really was into it and I was really enthralled and I was really dedicated. So those are my pros. I have one con. I wanted to see more of Athena and Helen, who were played by Athena was played by Zendaya, like I said, and Lupita Nyong'o. I really want to see more of them, but I also feel like depending on how much of the source material he was like Christopher Nolan was sticking to, it might not have even been a big part of the movies to have both of them. But I love me them. I love me some of them. They're some of my favorite actresses, so I really want to see more of them. And Zendaya, I feel like Zendaya is always a great actress. I didn't watch her on Disney Channel. I think I was too old when she was on Disney, but I just saw her in the. And I just realized her and Tom Holland were just in the Spider-Man movie, which I just saw. They were in the Odyssey together, which I just saw. So they're very real life work husband and wife, and well, I guess real life husband and wife and work husband and wife because they're like in everything. And then I saw the trailer for Dune, which they were also in the other two, which I need to watch that too. But yeah, they love working together. But I guess that's how they met. That's how they fell in love. I don't know. I guess they have the chemistry, to be working together. Um, and it's also nice to see her in roles where she's not really supposed to be young. She's not supposed to be a teenager. Like she can really be in her adult lane. Even though I did see Challengers and I reviewed it, so that's also an adult role for her. But you know, I like when she's like not just boxed in by like the age limits. You know what I mean? So that's my only con. So here's my overall opinion. I had a really great time seeing this movie in IMAX with my besties, even though we were like in the third row, so I was like looking up, but it was still nice. Had to crane my neck a little bit. Um, I really wanted to see it in 4DX. I wish we hadn't missed that opportunity because I think it was. I mean, it's been out since July, so it's probably like by the time we finally went to go see it, the 4DX was like, we're cutting that off now. So we did see it in IMAX, so that was cool and it was really nice. I think from what little I know about the source material, Nolan did a great job adapting it. And I also realized he directed Inception. I really loved Inception by him, and it's one of my favorite movies. So I was glad to see something else he did. And you really get engrossed in the acting and the story and the cinematography and the world building in this movie. And you feel like you're in it, which, for my thalassophobia was very stressful. Um, I would definitely recommend watching it. I'm usually not a period movie person or a period piece. It depends on though, like what time period it is, but I'm usually open. So, it wasn't too bad for me. I feel like it was really engrossing. I feel like, if you're watching a period piece and it's not that exciting, you're not gonna be into it. But I feel like this one you would like. I feel like people will really be into it if they're not really a period piece person. But then I guess it's also like depending on the period. Like this is the back in the Greek mythology days. Like I don't even know the year. I'm not even gonna try to guess. But there are different years and different perspectives to have for that. I wish we got more with Athena and Helen because, like I said, I love Lupita and Nyong'o. Um, but I don't know how pivotal they were to the original epic. Like I said, so they could have not really been that big a deal. I feel like I should probably read it at some point. I know most people have to read it in high school or middle school, but I feel like I don't even remember. Like, if I did, I don't remember it at all. So there's that. But it would be nice to see how like accurate or how much he was able to get into the movie because I feel like it's probably really long from what I know about it. And I would give this movie a 9 out of 10. Definitely recommend. And then I wrote a rant. I'm not sure what I'm gonna name it for my official video, but right now it's called "More Greek Mythology Movies." I think that more movies need to be made. I have a typo, of course. Made about Greek and Roman mythology and all other culture mythologies as well. And I know, like, I should also read the book, but I know of Blood and Bone is based off of African mythology, so that's cool. So we're getting that, even though there's some controversies about that, about the casting anyway, not about the books in general, but yeah. But I think we have more mythologies you know, for like Middle Eastern cultures, African cultures, American cultures. I'm sure we have our own little things. Um, I don't know about American mythology. We kind of already do like movies about all kinds of America. So let's leave America alone. But Greek, Roman, Middle Eastern, African, Europeans, put your hat in. Get all those movies made. That's what I want. Because I think the horror market is the main one that has the remakes and it's kind of getting tapped out. And then another thing, A Different World is coming out with a remake on Netflix. So there's that again. Which for Black people, I'm not gonna say nothing about it because I'm like, okay, we got something. Yeah. But I do kind of feel like we're getting these horror remakes all the time. There's always a Halloween remake. There's the Scream. Well, Scream is not a remake. I mean, it's still going. There was Child's Play. There was what was the one? Pet Cemetery remakes. We just got was the Long Walk a remake? I don't think so. I think they just adapted the book now. But we're getting a lot of horror content, and I would like other content. Even though I love horror, it'd be nice to switch it up a little bit. I heard they're remaking The Wiz, my favorite movie, which I am very scared about. Because, like I said, it is my favorite movie of all time. I'm gonna go see it because of that, But still, very nervous about that. But I feel like we need more original takes on these mythologies, like Nolan did with this movie. And I think we need more original-ish because they probably haven't made it before, and I'm sure there's like an Odyssey that was like made in the 40s, 50s, whatever. Um, but we can definitely try to lean at least a little more original-ish. I feel like we need a refresher of the remake genre. Oh, and then there's the Jumanji movies, which are also I don't know how many the original Jumanji movies were, but they're technically partly a remake, at least the first one anyway. Because I know they made two sequels based off that first remake. And then there's the Ghostbusters. So I feel like we need something to switch it up. You know, I feel like if they're gonna keep making remakes, make we need something different. We need to break away from like what we've been having. Or if you're gonna do like with Disney. Princess remakes, maybe. Well, they did go back in the vault for Snow White. I'm trying to think. They haven't done Sleeping Beauty yet, but I feel like I don't know. We need to get some, maybe get some hidden gems like Prince of. I hope Prince of Egypt is Disney. I can't remember. We need to get some hidden gems. You know what I mean? We need something to refresh this remake genre because I feel like it's just been kind of stagnant. And we just need something different for remakes because it just seems like the same things keep getting remade and remade and remade. Like there are 45,000 Halloween movies. There's a bunch of Nightmare Before Elm Street movies. There's a bunch of Stephen King movies, even though I like Stephen King books. Um, but he's had a couple of his movies made twice, and like I don't know, I feel like we need to like diversify the remakes. And I know we've had some musical remakes, like the West Side Story remake. I'm trying to think of anything else. The Mean Girls remake, which I did not like, and I did do a review on, which I guess is technically based off the musical, but they made it into a movie. I think technically. But anyway, we just need something to refresh, to revamp. That's the word I want to look for. I was trying to look for when I was typing. We need to revamp the remake genre because right now I feel like people are just fed up with what, you know, they're trying to remake and that it just keeps being kind of the same formulaic kind of thing. And just recently, the Moana remake, even though they made a second part like 2 years ago, I don't think that math is right, but you know what I mean. It might have been more than 2 years ago, but still, I remember seeing that one in theaters. But it's like, we want something new, or take something that was like I said, like a hidden gem, or maybe we can do like the Brothers Grimm like stories and remake that into or make that into a movie and make it like darker. Something. I just feel like the genre of remakes, if we're gonna keep remaking them, if people in Hollywood are gonna keep remaking them, we need something different. And I feel like with the Odyssey, this is something different. And I guess also I don't think from what I saw, like there was a Odyssey made super recently, so that also probably helps if you have like that distance between when it was originally made and when it's being remade. So I feel like that also helps as well. But yeah, have you seen the Odyssey? Do you like Christopher Nolan's movies? Let me know what you think, and I will see you all next week.